Welcome back to the Live Lounge. I'm Jon Roberts here at PTZOptics booth and the last day of NAB 2026. And I'm joined by a very special guest from Elgato. Chris, how are you doing today?
John, I'm doing really good for it being the last day, man.
I know. I'm somehow alive. My mouth still works. I'm still making way through the show. And we got a couple more guests to join us today in the Live Lounge. Overall, how's the show been? It's been heavy traffic. Any cool stories?
We've actually had quite a lot of traffic for our booth. I think there's been multiple times over the last couple of days where it's been so packed you couldn't actually move through it. You kind of had to swim through it, which I think is very sort of old school NAB. I think about some of the ones where like you had to swim through the lanes. Mm-hmm. Tons of cool use cases. We're in a really interesting space working with, people at the creator level, but all the way up to broadcast. And so, a lot of cool stories come talking to us. So it's been a great show, and I couldn't be more happy. I think this is our first time now that we are kind of making our bigger moves into the professional space.
Absolutely.
That we are here totally in sync with what broadcast and live events are doing.
Absolutely. So is there a new piece of hardware or any new software or firmware updates that kind of aligns with that new kind of broadcast level?
Yeah, it's interesting. We just released sort of two significant pieces. So we have our Wave initiative, which is all our new audio.
Yep.
So we released some new audio products. The software, I think, is the first part of that, allowing people to sort of do custom mixes. And at this show, we are showing a piece of hardware that was announced, but isn't on the street yet, which is the XLR Pro.
Wow.
And this thing is going to be the solution for a podcast.
Wow.
Everyone wants to start a podcast these days. It will take two microphones in, bring it into your computer, and basically sweeten the audio with the built-in hardware processing and allow you to do custom mixes. Just an amazingly efficient product. So that's part of our new software and hardware for audio. Mm-hmm. And then on the hardware side for control, we actually just released a new Stream Deck. So the Stream Deck Plus XL, it's been on the market for maybe 3 weeks.
Yep.
So the most keys we've ever had, more dials than we've had on a product before. So it's interesting. A lot of people come to the booth and are like, whoa. You would think one extra row wouldn't be that much bigger.
No, it's large.
It's significant. Yeah. And I think it's a pro product because, the kind of users that you and I are used to working with, they're the kind of people who need 6 dials, especially if they're working with PTZ cameras.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, the dials are one of my favorite things, honestly. So we have if you don't know at home, we have a plug-in for the Stream Deck, and it integrates directly with our cameras. You can control exposure, image settings. You can even have a live image preview. I mean, that alone is so mind-blowing. We have it like right here on the other side of our booth. It's so fun to mess around with, and especially like in education and the student side of things, it's hard to understand like the whole complexity of a robotic camera. So really streamlining it and just putting it into a Stream Deck makes it so easy, and you can even switch between multiple cameras as well, and that's really what's made it so much easier. And it's funny that you mentioned the larger version now is that our vMix producer, who does a lot of our productions back in our studio in Pennsylvania, he saw that immediately and was just like, we need to get one of those like ASAP, because he uses it for vMix, he uses it for our cameras, he uses it for like 4 different software as well. So it is, I'm sure everybody knows Stream Deck at this point. They're amazing, and they're just so essential. But the Wave products that you guys have come out with, I've been so impressed by the design, the 2 color options. Like obviously there's a lot of companies that give black or white products, but there's something about the pearl, like iridescent kind of like quality to those products. I'm telling you, man, I love it. I love product design and like engineering and like the actual physical look of products. So shout out to your product team and the hard workers at the design team.
We do something so unique, and I think that's why this space is interesting for us. It's so intuitive to work with one of our products. I always tell people, especially now that we're doing more with professional, like bigger teams, we did the hard part early. You think of a lot of the controllers, especially in this space, people get intimidated by walking up to them. Like people think they'll lose their job if they touch the wrong button.
Yeah.
No one walking into the Elgato booth has an issue walking up to a Stream Deck, pushing a button, turning a dial, swiping. So it just, to your point, the design is welcoming. The colors are welcoming, and just, in ways that, I don't have the mind for it. Like I too am in awe. I'm more engineering, like utilitarian. But just seeing people walk up to it and take to it is just so amazing. So it's fun to be part of this team when so many people want to work with it.
Yeah. So tell me about the rack-mounted device. How are people blown away when they see that at your booth? They're like, wait, you guys make this? Like, this is something you guys offer now?
Yeah, so this Stream Deck Studio fits in a 19-inch rack mount. It's actually fairly shallow.
Yeah.
It's a PoE-enabled device. So come stock PoE, 32 keys, 2 dials. And the idea being that you can basically act as any kind of panel you might use in a broadcast style. So if I wanted to make it a routing panel, I could do that. If I wanted to act as a controller for my switcher, I could do that. If I wanted to have it be hybrid audio control, DMX control, 2110, what have you, it can be that sort of functionality in your workflow. And so the idea that it's super flexible is really important. And a lot of people are really, really surprised. And it's, again, that organic growth. A lot of people were using Stream Decks in the broadcast space, in live events and trucks. And so, we've made a product that fits more to their needs.
Of course.
And with our partners at BitFocus, the sky is the limit with respect to control. And they've been working really hard on their buttons platform. We work really hard on the Stream Decks. And basically, this is sort of like the peanut butter and jelly approach to any kind of broadcast workflow being efficient on this platform. And then, what ties the room together is, because we come from our consumer roots, our cost structure is extremely affordable.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
So tell me about the collaboration with BitFocus and how the peanut butter and jelly works. I love that. I'm going to steal that and use that all the time now. So we have the hardware with the Stream Deck. You got the key lights. You got the audio with the Wave products. You even have an amazing teleprompter, which we use back at our studio in Pennsylvania.
I'm so happy for that.
It's amazing, yeah. And there's some ideas we have it for. We're thinking about it for not only for studio work, but also for even like education, like morning announcements. Like, it makes it so easy and affordable to use these kinds of products. But tell me about BitFocus and how these kind of two work together, and what really is BitFocus?
Yeah, so BitFocus is a software company. They are sort of, I think most people in the industry would probably know them from their software called Companion. Companion was this sort of almost open source project that a lot of people sort of contributed to, designed for control over systems. Your switchers from any manufacturer, or maybe a PTZ company, maybe an LED board, what have you. It was a lot of people in the industry, sort of the sort of brains behind the scenes, sort of collaborating, making APIs work, making software work. They put it into this BitFocus package, and it's very, very popular. Now they have their buttons platform, and it's the difference between this being sort of this open source side project and it being something that they take really, as a business. They have a very robust team behind the scenes. They really, really know productions and events, and that shows in the way they implement. And the BitFocus team is basically, with buttons, said, we know the kinds of features that you guys need. Now our software is able to support that. Something like user management, something like access and control, workflows to do multiple levels of automation with logic. When I take to camera 3, load in this graphic, maybe if I'm in a sports arena, change what's going to the board, prep the replay, change the boards themselves. So it's a super robust platform, and it is the software piece to our hardware. Now, this gets a little interesting. We also do make our own software, and our stuff is very easy to use. And like you said earlier, you're one of our partners in that you're on the marketplace and people can work with us. In general, we are this great entry point with our product, but there are still a ton of manufacturers, especially in this space, not to name a few, but someone like a Ross or a Blackmagic, where they are going to want some other features that, some of our entry-level users might not want. And so they're working with the BitFocus team. And essentially the answer is yes. I have this platform I want to work with. BitFocus is working with it today, or they just hired somebody about 2 months ago, I want to say a little more than that, to do their connections program. So as they're taking it more serious as a business, their connections group goes out and does more deep collaborations. So recently they announced some manufacturers that's like, oh, great, now I have all of these options, and I know that if I'm part of that BitFocus, connections group, I know that my hardware can be working with someone else's hardware, and it sort of makes it really compelling. I think it's so slick to use. It's much easier to design. No shade against the previous stuff, but just like, it's more compelling. You want to get behind it. And with that user piece, just to sort of end there, I can do my master design as an engineer and then give the guy who's going to sit at the chair the ability to sort of do a little control on his own panel.
So I'm always curious when people have really easy to use products like this. Chris, how do people use Stream Decks internally? What are they using it for internally? I'm sure they're using it for their day-to-day work as well, right?
So I do. My boss does.
Yeah.
All the way up to C-suite at the company.
Wow. Okay.
If you've never interacted with one, it is in a nutshell, you know, something you can use to control anything on your computer. So for me, I start my day. I got to pop up 4 windows: email, Teams, Slack, because I have some team members over in Germany use Slack. And then for me today, Claude.
Okay.
I get emails sort of from the APAC regions, EMEA regions while I was asleep. This was disrupting my relationship because I would get my phone up in the night. So I turned the phone on vibrate. And so the reason I start Claude is I have Claude go through CoWork. Hey, pull all the emails, give me some synopsis of what happened, right?
Wow.
But that's my one button, just starts my day at my desk.
Get out of here. That's amazing.
We actually have some of our distributors, because we now have distribution in the States, who their entire sales team is like cranking through their day, just going through little things. Anything that you would click, like if you would click in something and go into a sub menu and then like have to click again, just having one button on the Stream Deck will just start to make things easier. And then I'm sure you guys, when you're not at events like this, are probably loaded in Zoom or Teams meetings.
Yeah.
Just being able to say, hey, I have some basic buttons here that I could punch through. I know my screen share button is. I've tied it to the correct window. I'm not like fumbling through. Or when I want to stop something, I want to mute something, turn my camera off. Can I drag that with the mouse? Yes. Does everybody notice when your eyes are moving and you're going to click it? Yes. So it just like adds that little touch. And yeah, at the organization, we have people using it every facet. The team that does the streams, the team that makes the content, the teams that are doing the programming, you name it, basically everyone's
That's incredible. I didn't expect to get like a lesson on how to work harder here today, Chris. That's amazing. I'm going to steal that idea of the one push to like start your day, kickstart it.
Hopefully not work harder, work more efficiently.
More efficiently, that's right. To make myself look like I'm working more harder. That's right. I love that. That's such a, man, you're great, Chris. I wish we had a whole hour to talk, honestly. There's so much I want to ask you. But I have to end, just like I've done on all of these interviews, is personally and also from Elgato perspective, where do you see the industry going in the next 10 years? What does it look like? So
next 10 years is interesting, I think. There's every time when these questions are asked, everyone always has something they're afraid of. And then everyone has something that they're like, no, I really like this.
Yeah.
I think the thing that a lot of people are afraid of is AI. Impact of AI on what's going to happen. We are certainly, I don't necessarily buy in the idea of the AI bubble beyond the financial element of it. I think that these products continue to evolve, right? Before my time, there was exclusively print media, and as I grew up, computers were a thing, and all the print media people were sort of against the sort of progress of the computer, and then sort of their whole industry changed. So as the technology changes, you adapt. So I think that this is going to be more and more part of what's going to be empowering. That's my personal take. As Elgato, I think one of the major things we're seeing is the creator and the broadcaster are meeting in the middle. The creator and the AV team are meeting in the middle.
Yeah.
Now, it just so happens that our product is working for all of these people, so we see a lot of this convergence. And I would say that's what we're going to continue to see in the next 10 years, which is the creators need easy tools. The broadcasters need easy tools. The AV team needs easy tools. So rather than having these sort of bespoke, fairly intense, sort of very specific siloed workflows, you know, hey, we work with this protocol and we use this brand, and, you know, oh, well, over here we use this protocol and this brand. It's like, well, it's all IP. It's a lot of computer-driven stuff, and, you know, operators are coming from the same space. I think that stuff's just going to converge. And then, you know, to really cement this, and I bet my stake on it, a lot of the content creators eventually stop creating content, and then they go into professional fields. So you have content creator in high school, esports TD in college, TD for, you know, local sports team, going to ESPN. There's this track, and I have friends, I've watched them go through this stuff. Now they're the major decision makers in you name it.
It's crazy.
What are they going to do? Well, they're going to look at what still works, what they know, what they were using, and basically say, hey, let's converge and use this stuff is really cool. You guys got to have this. You know what? Actually, the stuff that you guys are used to using, we're going to use that, and they're going to blend it all together.
Oh, that's incredible, Chris. Thank you. It's been a pleasure to speak to you, and thank you for your time. Where could they learn more about Elgato at home? So Elgato.com is your best place to start, but we also have a really great YouTube channel. We also have a great Twitch channel. I think that's something we do a little uniquely, is that, you know, we will post on we will have live streams
basically the week that we're announcing products. And because the Wave product was so robust, we did 2 straight weeks of live streams on Twitch. So you can follow us on Twitch, you can get us on YouTube, then our website just to get the general product knowledge.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate your time.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And we will be back very soon to talk to another special guest here live from the lounge on the last day at NAB. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back very soon. Welcome back to the Live Lounge. We are just wrapping up NAB in Las Vegas this year, and we have another special guest coming from LiveU right down the hall, a great friend of ours here, and a close friend to Claudia, who's the now head of our marketing team. You guys might have not seen her. She's a little behind the scenes, but we love Claudia. Ben from LiveU, how are you doing?
Doing good. It's literally the last 30 minutes of the show here. It's finally calming down a little bit, and ready to enjoy Vegas a little and head on home.
Yeah, you got some plans? Gonna go see a show?
I have never been to the Sphere, so I'm gonna go see some Wizard of Oz.
Yo, that's
what else
amazing.
are you gonna see at the Sphere?
That's amazing.
Some people go for fish. I go for the Wizard of Oz.
I really wanted to go. In fact, a couple of us were gonna go, and then we looked up the tickets. We thought it would be like $100. Like, okay, no, it's $200.
Okay, so I didn't buy my ticket yet, and I was planning on just going there and buying a $100 ticket. Is that not the case?
Online, when we looked last night, it was $200 a ticket. And there weren't many tickets left, so they weren't the best.
Well, if anyone wants to hang after this, I'm available.
So how's the show been for you and for LiveU? Anything new at the booth this year?
Oh, good. It's sometimes you see people walking by a booth pointing at how excited they are on your technology. What you can't see on camera is people from other booths are pointing at my LiveU stuff right now. Yeah. What was your question? Sorry.
How's the show been for you?
It's been great, honestly. We have a bunch of new things that came out, but we had really good quality of people coming by to talk to us. It was a great show for LiveU.
Yeah, you guys are swarmed. Every time I was over there, I was like, oh my God.
We're very popular.
Yeah, so popular. I couldn't even talk to you. I was just like, Ben, please.
That was a choice, not a...
Yeah, I felt it. I really felt it. So what, do you guys bring anything new? There's a big Q sign everywhere over there.
The big thing is the LU900Q. So I've got one of them right in my lap here. This is our brand new cellular encoder. So traditionally with bonded cellular... you would have in the U.S., let's say, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile modems. So those are fixed modems. So, maybe if one of those providers isn't really good where you are, it'll put more weight on the other ones. What we could do now with the LU900Q is we've transitioned to eSIMs, which means we can use our LiveU IQ technology to dynamically, in real time, change which provider is going to which SIM card modem.
Wow.
So this means I can't tell you the specific event that I sent one of these to, but let's just say the largest championship football game in the United States. In the bowl of that game, in the bowl of that stadium, we had perfect signal coming out with a LiveU IQ technology.
Wow.
Which is something that people might have been afraid in the past to do in the bonded cellular world. Perfect signal in that kind of super congested environment. So it performs really well in either those really congested environments or in those really rural environments where maybe there's only AT&T there. And maybe you're getting, 0.1 meg upload on an AT&T modem, but multiply that times 6 or 8, then you got yourself a live feed. So that's a part of the really exciting technology built right into the LiveU 900Q.
That's incredible. Are you guys using this at the show? I would imagine a show like NAB and these large conventions would be a perfect use case for this, right?
Absolutely. In fact, if not that any of you are going to get all the way from your homes, wherever you are, to our booth in the next 22 minutes.
They got time.
But we've got these up and running. You can see we actually have dual... So this unit has dual camera inputs, dual camera outputs.
Wow.
So you can see the full thing in action. And again, trade show environment, perfect signal coming out the entire 4 days. So this thing works like a rock. People are really eager to get their hands on these. And look, this is our first unit. Also, it's our first 422 10K HDR unit.
Wow.
So for the sports world, that's huge. That's what they're going for.
Yeah.
First one, maybe not the most magic feature in the world, but we've got wireless IFB for the first time. So your reporter could be, on like an AirPod, and then your camera operator can be on a wired intercom. So you could have 2 separate channels, so you could do communications that way.
Wow, that's incredible. I love that. Are you seeing any changes now? Is this part of like what's happening in the live production space? Are you seeing major changes that are notable?
Well, so we're seeing 2 things. We're seeing a continued push towards REMI production, so remote production, just like we're doing here for this show, where you have a control room elsewhere. And you're just sending out your camera operators. Everyone's looking to spend less money on their productions, but they still want to maintain quality. of visual, but also of their content.
Sure.
So it's a lot cheaper to send 3 or 4 camera ops to an event and then have the rest of your crew back at home. So we see a lot of that. I would say also a bigger push towards cloud production. We have a full control room in the cloud, LiveU Studio, which is, I believe, being used to run this right here.
There's parts of it.
Parts of it that are being used with LiveU Studio.
I let the guys that really know what
they
they're
press
doing.
all the buttons. Anyway, but you can do pretty much anything you could do in a regular control room. And that means that you don't even need to have your own local control room. You could run as many productions in the cloud as you want with people distributed all over the world and do productions that way. So this powers kind of both versions of that. And that seems to be the direction that a lot of productions are going.
Wow.
For the Olympics this year, almost all the control rooms were not in Italy. Almost all of them were, back in home countries elsewhere. So it was just a lot of LiveU and a lot of other kinds of transmission, getting the content back, and then just being comfortable back in your home location.
You at LiveU, you guys truly offer some of the most interesting case studies. I've always felt that way because you guys can take your hardware literally anywhere, and that leads to really amazing stories and amazing locations. Is there anything recently that has popped up that you were really impressed by, or like can't believe that someone's using LiveU for this or that?
Honestly, I would say the worldwide sports games the last couple months ago.
Super games,
marketing, man. But we had so many units there, all had great service, and it's just you're in the most congested, but in some rural environment, there's ski mountains, there's, all these different kinds of venues. That's just, you wouldn't think that you can get that much cellular data into good, reliable feeds. And that was a big accomplishment for us. And wow. Next for the major worldwide soccer event happening in the North America, that's kind of our next big thing we're working towards. And especially because of these eSIMs, it's really easy. This is happening in Mexico, US, Canada. To cross borders, you just flick a switch and you automatically have the correct cell providers for the right country.
Wow.
So this is just the most flexible unit ever, and I think you're really going to see how this thing superpowers production.
That's exciting. We got to get our hands on one of those. Ben, can you tell me a little bit about the LiveU scheduler? I know you mentioned it. Can you tell people at home what that is and how it might tie back into us?
Yeah, so we just recently launched LiveU Schedule. It's basically a way to automate and orchestrate not only your LiveU products, but also any third-party products. So when I was looking for who do I want to show off as a third party, I said PTZOptics. And it's not just because y'all gave me a camera to work with. But basically, so what we can do with LiveU Schedule, which is powered by Nexog and PTZOptics, is we can control any of the presets, and at a certain time of day or for a certain event, have the camera go to a certain preset. So, maybe you're doing... maybe you're a TV channel that has traffic reports, and half of the day you need your northbound traffic, half of the day you need your southbound traffic.
Yep.
You could buy 2 cameras, or you can have it automatically just midday flip over using LiveU Schedule.
Yep.
So, you could also use it to control your video recorders, your IRD satellites, anything else. But obviously PTZOptics and these cameras was a really good visual way for us to show that off.
Yeah, I really appreciate you working with us, and hopefully we can keep strengthening that and even adding more features from our cameras directly into that. So what is like some of the use cases for the scheduler, and how does it really kind of combine with, I know you mentioned news, is that one of the most common?
Yeah, news is one of the big places. So right now, obviously resources are tight all over the broadcast industry. You'll often have someone whose job it is every single time you start a transmission to, first of all, start the transmission, write the name of the story, make sure it gets into the rundown, make sure it's recording. It's a very manual process to do all of this. Our goal with LiveU Schedule and some of our other products is to make that all automatic. So maybe maybe it's 4 in the morning and you don't have someone in that room to do that job. We can make sure you can still get your content recorded and on the air. Or maybe that person, instead of just doing this kind of manual robotic labor, maybe we can refocus what they do to focus on quality over quantity of just typing things out. So with, with Schedule and a lot of our other products, LiveU Ingest can automatically record all of your stuff. You take all of your story from your NRCS tool. Our goal is to let you focus on the content, get the best stuff out to your audience, while making certain parts of your life a whole lot easier.
That's incredible. I mean, automation is a key to the future, and that's something I wanted to ask you about. Something that we've asked everyone about is, where's the future going, and where do you see LiveU going in the next 10 years, and in general, where's the AV industry going?
Yeah, I'll tell you, a big push LiveU is making right now, and where we're seeing a lot of customers interested in us, we're at NAB right now talking about broadcast, not broadcast. Yes, we're still continuing very strong in broadcast, to be clear. Hello to all the marketing people still watching. We have a huge public safety wing now where first responders, people working in public safety, where they need access. You throw a drone in the air, typically just a single drone operator can see that on their screen. But now you could have everyone in your location have situational awareness of what's going on by just sending a video return to their phones. Maybe you want to send that back to headquarters so they can monitor as well. I know with some of these major sporting events coming up, we're going to have loads of these with public safety organizations all over the country, so they can even whatever kind of cameras they have, they're able to get back and see, record, work with in real time. Which traditionally that was just a big challenge. So LiveU is playing a big part in the whole public safety world, and I would expect that to expand a lot in the coming years.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. What about you personally? Is there anything else that you're excited for in the AV industry in the next 10 years? What it might go to?
Yeah, I would say things are getting easier to work with, cheaper and more either cloud or REMI or remote based. So, I don't need to physically be anywhere to run a production. What I love about REMI and remote production is you can hire the absolute best talent no matter where they are without any limitations, and it could lead to a better quality of life for, I'm a New Yorker by trade. I love New York. I love LA. I'm in Boston now. But there might be some people who want to live a nicer life in the middle of the country, not the hustle and bustle of these big cities where, TV used to be centered. And they could be doing the same high quality productions and live wherever they want to. So I think we're going to see an expansion towards that. I mean, we're already largely there, but we're going to see an even bigger push because the technology is allowing that to happen. I mean, PTZOptics cameras, you can get on your own if you're just a podcaster or whatever and do a full production. I mean, how often do any of these major podcasters go to a major city to do a major studio production? No, they're doing these all out of their homes. So I think we're going to see more and more of that kind of production, and we both happen to provide the tools to make that happen.
Yes, we do. Yes, that's a great way to wrap it up, and a great way to wrap up NAB here in Vegas. I want to thank you and LiveU for joining us today, Ben, and thank you everyone at home that's been watching us here live from the lounge. It's been a great show. We've had 8 different speakers, I believe, if I can keep track. It's been absolutely a blast. So thank you everyone at home that's been watching and commenting along, and we will see you very soon at the next trade show. Thank you so much.